A Course in Miracles is such a helpful reference book and a guide for me to use in my day-to-day life because so much of what it references is very practical. It's concrete, for as concrete as illusions can be, right? But a lot of what the Course in Miracles will talk about is it will give examples using sickness and using illness, and that's something that is so visible in the world. And so, because of that, it's easier and it's helpful to have a guide out of that illusion, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Chapter 10, Section 3, The God of Sickness from A Course in Miracles. And, you know, the people that are finding themselves ill or finding themselves sick, it is worshiping an illusion, right? This is when we are worshiping illusions. We are um, worshiping idols, so to speak, and sickness itself is an idol. And sickness is an idol because it allows us to think that there is something out there that can take our power away from us, right? And so if we ever find ourselves sick, that's just a good uh, moment to be able to recognize and say, okay, hold on, I'm worshiping an illusion, right? And when you see your brother sick, right? When you see somebody else that's out there sick, there's nothing wrong. Remember, there's nothing wrong with any of our experiences. These are all experiences that are going to lead us, every single one of us, into the kingdom, right? It's going to happen. And so the thing that we can do when we see somebody else sick is we can remember to see God. We can remember who they are because however we see others is exactly how we see ourselves. So we want to remember to hold space for every person out there that is dealing with any kind of illness or sickness or any kind of lack, right? But it's a reminder that, hey, everything is all good. It's still all good always and in all ways. And sickness is such an easy example of the power being usurped from us, right? And taken away from us, and that there's this power outside of us. It's an easy way for us to fall into um, or to choose the victim role, right? That, oh, I can't do anything because I'm ill. I can't do anything because I'm sick. How many times I know for me, how many times have I said, I can't do this because I'm sick? That just means that I'm giving my power away. And so, one of the things that it says here in chapter 3, the God of sickness, that really stood out today was it said, when a brother is sick, it is because he is not asking for peace. And I thought, wow, I have thought many times about sickness that, okay, the sickness is giving me a clue of some pain I'm holding or some grievance I'm holding, right? And this gave me an alternate way to look at sickness. It said it's when a brother is sick is because he's not asking for peace. So instead of trying to figure out for myself what is the judgment I'm holding on to, if it's my throat, then it's you know my inability to speak, right? Or speaking up for myself or feeling like I have to always quiet down. Like those are great clues, but also it can be looked at in such a more macro scale and just say, am I asking for peace? Yes or no? And if I see somebody else that's sick, the answer is that they're just not asking for peace. So if we know what we're not asking for, now all of a sudden, why don't we start asking for it? When we start asking, we will receive. We ask, we receive every time, every time. And so the last part of section 3 that I want to speak on is the whole idea around the idols we create and how we actually make them. I want to change my word there. I want to say the idols we make. We make these idols and then we forget about God and made these idols, we've made these idols as essentially a replacement for God. And so then we start to worship him, right? And so just remembering that, hey, wait a second, I cannot replace God. I cannot, um, make any idol that's going to be better than God or that's going to be my creator, And when we make these idols, um, we essentially try and put them in the father role for ourselves. And we look up to them as if they are our father. And so just looking at it that way makes me see the insanity in it, right? Something I made cannot be my father. So, um, and you've heard me say, create and made a few different times, that's those are two words that I am being very intentional about how they're used. And if you pay attention in the course is very clear that creation comes from our God self. Creation comes from God. Creation is of God, right? We create, we are creative. Whereas the ego can only make. So anything that's made, is egoic. It's temporal. It's not going to last forever. It is an idol. Anything that's created is eternal, is love, is peace, is withstanding of everything, is created from ourself as our higher self. So as you read A Course in Miracles or as you go about your day to day, think about how you use those words, create and made, and just line them up so that we can continue to hear, we can continue to hear the truth, right? Let our language line up with the truth so that as we speak, as we think, then we can continue to remember and make remembering easier. There we have it for Chapter 10, Section 3 of A Course in Miracles. If there's another section in A Course in Miracles that you want to dive deeper in with me, let me know in the comments. Let me know which sections or which pieces of this video were helpful to you, were insightful for you, right here in the comments. Make sure you click on the bell to be notified when new videos come up and the daily meditations are published. And I look forward to seeing you again soon.